All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We appreciate all your input and entertainment here. On the financial side, we work through the year to do the projects we do, and then I try to keep a chunk of money, and our chunk of money's worked out really well. We're going to be able to do Hiawatha Park and Taylor Road. We're going to do a few more trees in Taylor Road. We can't do as many as I'd like because the retention pond that's going in with the community block grant takes up some of the space.
The corner
of Sandusky and West High Street. Scott removed there were 5 of those, right?
Yeah.
The beech trees are just a struggle there. I talked to Brian Wade, and we're going to go ahead and put in 6 honey locusts in there. I think the honey locusts will survive better in that spot. The quality of the soil and all the credit goes with it. So it's working out. We're going to get some projects in.
We did Park and Ride, Riverside, Memorial, and Ariel.
Here, okay. So, but that's not all Arbor Trust.
No.
Anyway, with the Arbor Trust, we've done well this year with getting trees in the ground. Do we have a glitch?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to start again? Gosh, I don't remember what I said. Oops, I forgot to do the minutes too. I get so excited about talking about stuff.
There you go. Minutes approval.
No, this. I need to talk with Scott more.
It's going to be
Oh,
quick,
okay.
right?
Is it? Yeah, I put that in there first.
Yeah, because I've been taking, I did West High
It's not
Street
reading this
last
device. It should still record. But
6 or 7. I because the final took out of there, so, which feel free to give me a call if you're out driving around and see it. If they go shoot me a text, or this one in town.
YouTube's working, they're good. So you
Okay.
can use that.
She said it was, so we're okay that way.
Yeah, I'll,
All that be for real.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We're good?
You're fine. Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So that we did well with our money this year. Did everybody get a chance to look at the meeting minutes from last meeting? Any corrections, any problems?
Nope. I make a motion, we accept them.
All in favor? Dwayne's not here today. He's in Mexico.
Poor guy.
I know.
Did someone second it? Sarah? Okay.
So we're working without Dwayne today. There's a couple people in the audience here.
Yes, there
Who do
are.
we have?
Terry, you want to come up to the microphone?
Yeah.
Tell them who you are.
Hi, I'm Terry Rakovich. I'm a seasonal intern here, working with Zane in the GIS and engineering. So I just graduated from BGSU. I'm just looking to get some experience here in Mount Vernon. So really love this town, and so I'm just trying to get invested and get some experience. So
Good.
pretty excited. So.
Thank you.
So are you working the cemetery project, or what do you got? They have you doing?
So at the moment, I'm just kind of doing odds and end things.
You just started.
Yeah, I just started Monday.
Wow.
So.
I got a list of things.
Yeah, so I kind of just went out with Zane today, and we just kind of looked at some tree projects that were going on with some citizens that had some concerns, and we looked at, I believe it was the old Rolls Royce building, and we looked at all like the piping and the CCTV cams they have going on in there, and so just trying to learn the ropes and get familiarize myself with the town. So, yeah.
What's your field of study?
Geography.
Geography.
Yep, geography. My minor's in political science. That's so I thought it'd be a good blend. So working with city government and doing geography mapping stuff. So thought it was a perfect fit. And it's a cool town, and I'm really enjoying it. So
Oh,
yeah.
good. And Bowling Green's a good place.
Yeah, Bowling Green is a great
And
place.
where are you from?
Bowling Green, PG.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Northwest Ohio, Wood County. So a lot different down here, a lot hillier, a lot more green. Up where I'm from, it is flat as a pancake. cornfields, it's tall as buildings, and so it's definitely different coming down here. But I do enjoy it. Change of scenery, see something different.
Very good.
It's very interesting.
Well,
So
welcome.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. So we got through the minutes, we got that. Where do you want to start here?
Do you want an update on fall
Yeah.
planning?
Yeah, let's do the fall planning, where we
Okay.
are with that.
Well,
and kinda work our
I
way through
took
it.
a look at Dwayne's numbers, and based on what he had said, last time he had about 40 trees. He has a few to finish. I talked to him about 4 that came on mid-September.
Okay.
I am gonna ask Brian. You can probably handle 4 more trees on TCP. 4 more people.
Let's make it 5, I'd like.
um,
I've got the form.
two people that would be a total of 6. 2 people I've already been talking to, and I added them. I told Dwayne he doesn't need to contact them, but they will make it on part of his tallies. So there's 4 people that he'll follow up with when he comes back, and if he has trouble, I told him I could help out. One of them may be on your list. So Sarah has TCP also, but she's targeting Syker Road. And how many trees are you up to now?
So I am at 36 trees, but that's with 7 people who responded yes, that I'm still trying to, so I've met about two-thirds of the yeses came up with 36 trees. Although to be fair, there are 2 properties I think that Dwayne dealt with that are on his list that are from here. But so I had 19 yeses, and out of 12 I have 36 trees, although Mr. Wade and I looked at one property today that is requiring several, that has a drainage issue that we're kind of wondering if it might be part of another project. So that would give me a little TCP fund back. But right now I think I'm getting, probably need a little more than the, if he has 40 and I have 36.
He may have closer to 45. It will be one of our bigger years for TCP.
I'm guessing I'll probably have another 10 to 12 if I
Very
eat
good.
these 7.
If you can, and that's the same thing I'm having trouble with on the south end, is just people not getting back to me, so I'm almost ready to write those off. I did a quick run through of the numbers, so TCP is putting us into the area of between 60 and 80, and that's not necessarily
What I was
counting the other one. Other projects we have is the Canopy Grant. We're finishing up at Aerial Foundation, that's 39. There's some other small Aerial Foundation projects, which is 12. Total of approximately at Aerial Foundation Park of 52 more trees. Aerial in Mount Vernon location on,
That's Mount Vernon Avenue?
yeah, that's for MVNU. We have, I think it was about 45. Schools, central offices, middle school is 19. Knox DD is 7. Humane Society is 4. Dog Pound 15, plus 2 hydrangeas. Martinsburg Road, Division Street. If the church agrees to the trees that we've proposed, it could be as high as 60. St. Vincent has 5. And then the few that you gave me. So bottom line, we're looking at the grant funding about 226 trees.
Good, very good. Dang, I like that.
Well, that's a big year, so.
That's a good year. I like
Yeah.
it. That'll make John happy.
Speaking of, I'm glad he's not here.
Yeah, glad you know.
It's, the surprise is
Yeah.
better.
Speaking of John, I haven't heard anything from him, and you sent a list to remove water bags, the addresses.
I sent it to the people saying it was going to be done. I have not
Okay.
sent him the file.
Okay, so
I can
John
do
will
that.
need
I thought- okay.
those, addresses, so he can give them to the watering crew before they quit.
Let me ask a stupid technical question. That is in the city. That was not like a file I created, so is that something he can access or?
No, he can't access it, so the ones, he may or may not have saved where he put the bags in the spring, so it would be just a reminder, say these are the TCP bags that need to be removed from the following address.
Okay. From the file that I believe is
They-
yours originally in there.
Yes, yes, that you took over.
All right, I like that. So what was your number 2?
226
26, and that doesn't include,
HOA, or,
Hiawatha Park or any other. Good,
no.
good.
You're saying good, I'm getting nervous at how big that is. No, okay.
I like it. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
glad. I'm happy with that. I'm always happy to put trees in. With the dog warden, you mentioned the Humane Society and the dog pound? Or
Yes,
you talked
both
to
have
both?
contacted us.
Good.
The Humane Society was not there when Brian and I went through that, and I have some trees that we were going to put there as well. So, yeah.
And that's 4. That you and I looked at that property and we had, more than that, but pretty much what we had talked about.
I wrote, we have a proposal on that already, and the dog shelter, 10 arborvitae, 3 white oaks, an exclamation plane, Sun Valley red, 2 hydrangeas, so that's 15 trees there, and the Humane Society is 4 trees.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Good, but those both
And those
those
will go
properties
on
will
the
look
city watering list.
Okay.
Colleen, do you have a rough idea how many trees we planted this year?
I don't have a good number
Okay.
on that.
I tried to add them up, but I'm not sure if I got those yet. I had like
And these are new.
676.
Yeah, because I took over where Kate left off.
Right. Okay,
I don't know.
that's fine. I just didn't know if
I
you had
was
a number.
ignorance is bliss. I didn't, I don't. I wasn't paying attention when I didn't need to pay attention.
You're fine.
All right.
I may not be.
I like it. I like it a lot. While we're talking about the dog shelter here, I want to get Scott in on that. You talked with him about cleaning up that area in the back.
Yes.
Because I've got an email from him. He got a quote from you on spraying, or he got some things and he wanted to talk with me about it. What did you guys
I met with Brian Biggerstaff, the dog warden, and I looked. Now, as far as clearing that up, that's more than I can do.
Okay.
So, but I gave him some ideas. I told him that I would be more than happy. I'll give him a quote, and you guys can figure out, if you're going to split it or whatever you want to do about treating the vines. That's not going to be that big of a bill.
Okay.
The biggest part I told him is to talk to the road crew, whoever runs the road crew, and see if they can come in and arm mow them vines and stuff.
Oh, kinda do one of
yes, do an arm mow. Then that way I can actually gain access, and then I'll go in and cut all the vine and get it killed.
Okay.
And then if they arm mow that and kind of it'll look rough at first, but they will fill back in. But that'll give you room, and that'll give me room to treat vines, and you guys room to plant your trees.
So if they get those vines treated, that's going to make a big difference.
Yes, and that's not going to be an issue, and I'm going to get a quote up for that. What I'll do is when I send that quote out, I'll send it to you and him.
Okay.
And then you guys can discuss how you want to do it. I haven't heard back from him yet, what the road guys said.
Is that Mount Vernon roads or ODOT?
That's county.
County.
County? Okay.
County, yeah.
Okay.
Since it's a county, they're all part of the county, and it's county property and stuff. I would think.
They should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't take them 45 minutes to an hour to go down there with their arm mower and just kind of knock it back a little bit, and then I'll get the vines cut and get them treated. There actually is 2 really nice buckeye trees in there, but they're almost grown like a question mark because of the vines that's on them.
Well, there were several of them where the tops of the trees were hanging down.
Yeah, and one of them's a really nice buckeye, so I don't know. I do remember when we did that bike trail, I was still with the city, and that was open when we did that. So I'm either getting old, or that's been a little bit longer than I thought it was when we did that. So I'm not sure.
You're not getting old.
Well, some days I don't think so. Did you want me to go ahead and do
Yeah,
what
while you're up, let's just talk about what
Yeah.
you've got. We're jumping around here a little bit, but we'll get it all
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
And
I-
Scott, I noticed on what you did for September, I didn't see Mount Vernon Avenue with the listed on
I
there.
probably forgot to put it on there. I had quite a bit I put on there,
Okay.
so.
Oh, the sweet
Because
goods?
I knew I'd seen you down there.
Yeah, they're done. So, I did Mount Vernon Avenue. Did West High Street from the car dealership, the railroad tracks, all the way down to the park. I did all the, and as I say, as I did, I'm pruning and trimming. I pruned and trimmed all of the river birch at Memorial or Riverside Park. And then I took care of about 4 smaller trees there. There was an oak and some other trees that needed limbed up a little bit. Started on the park and ride river birch, and I called Brian and chatted with him, and I think you was with Doc and everyone that day. I stopped halfway through there, and I marked the ones that I feel that needs to be replaced. So
We're gonna do 5 of them at the park and ride and 4 of them at the Riverside.
okay, so because quite honestly, if I'd have took all the suckers off of them, they'd had nothing to get nutrients with.
Yeah, those really got hit hard when
They did, and that Primatol, that ground sterilant that they sprayed on there is just brutal. And it says, you know, it's only a year long, but when it hits the roots that bad, especially they're already in shock being transplanted, and then it just goes right down on them. So you even got, I always try to be careful with even glyphosate when I'm doing that. So I got that done. So High Street from Riverside Park all the way to Center Run has been pruned and limbed and taken care of.
I mentioned to you the 902 West High.
It's gone.
You got that one?
I
out there?
removed that tree, yes.
'Cause that
oak.
was
Is that
the
the gas
second.
leak one?
Yeah, that was the second tree we've put at that location.
Yeah, yeah, we need to maybe revisit a different type of tree or something, or,
That was that a raindrop, the royal raindrop? Is that what that's called,
No.
the oak?
it was an oak, but I don't think it wasn't one of them.
Was it a Regal Prince?
Regal
Yeah,
print.
it was a Regal, yeah.
Oh,
There-
got the one down here.
Yeah, there wasn't much left of it.
Yeah,
A gas leak will do that.
Oh, okay,
Maybe we ought to check that out.
yeah.
Maybe we lost 2 trees there.
Yeah, and it had maybe an inch of cambium that was actually still had some pliability to it. It was
Because last year, it came out,
Mhm.
lost all its leaves,
Mhm.
and then it came back out again around fall. And thought it was gonna be okay, and then
Mhm.
this year it came out, lost all its leaves again, and just come back just a little bit this fall.
Yeah.
There's something
Well,
else going
and you
on.
know, I noticed there was a couple elms down from there. I don't know if there was like a Patriot elm or something. They was stressy and losing some leaves too. I made a note of that.
east or west of there?
West.
Further west?
Yeah, it'd be west of there. I'm planning on fertilizing those as well this coming month. Also, I got about half the stakes pulled and wrapped. I got Columbia School done, Shalimar Park, and I actually took the ones off the witch hazels out here. I figured I was out doing them. I'd just grab them. Got the one off Main Street. Cleaned up another little tree down there on Main Street. Cleaned up the trees at Shalimar a little bit. And the stakes, I'm drawing a blank. I know I did a lot more than that.
You did the high school, didn't you?
Yes, I did the high school. I still have to go back and pull stakes and fertilize on the new ones there because I was kind of waiting until the water bags were off. That way it makes it a lot easier to fertilize without those. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit most of those with just a 10-10-10 or 12-12-12 fertilizer. Does well with them. Anything that looks like real pale, I'll hit with some liquid iron and some nitrogen and stuff and some root stimulator to kind of help it take it up. So, and I trimmed also I did all those oaks this year too. The new ones that we put in the cemetery, I cleaned up a little bit, but then all those along that sidewalk and fertilized all those up through there too.
Oh, on Taylor Road?
Yeah, along Taylor,
very nice.
or Oak Grove.
Yeah,
that
those
goes
are
up
starting
there.
to look nice.
Those look really nice. They took off. And I was talking with Judy. I didn't realize it because I was going off my numbers, and then I thought, well, I'll just take a ride. And when I got done counting, we're like 630 trees I've trimmed this year. And that'll be ones that'll also, probably half of those will be fertilized too
Very good.
this fall. So next month, I'm planning on mainly early too. I'm gonna try to get started on it next week if I can. I wanna get the fertilizer on the ground and get the stakes pulled and stuff, so.
Are those the stakes for the ones that just had them this year, or the ones that are the year old?
It would have been the 22 watering list.
Right, okay, that's what I was.
Yeah,
I
that's the
thought.
ones I'm pulling now. Columbia School looked pretty good. Those trees weren't too bad shape. The sycamores in the back looked pretty good. When I pulled those stakes, they looked really nice. There was, here and there. I mean, it's around the school. Kids climb trees. That's what they do. So, I'd rather see a kid climbing a tree than a mower hit it.
Yeah, oh,
No,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
they don't do that.
So that's not an issue there at all with me. I did reach base with the high school, talk to the people there to let them know that I'm going to be in there because I called them about doing the sweet gums. I try to call people and let them know. That way when they see me out there, they don't panic and think that, something flakes out there tearing the trees up. So I'm going to go between the hospital and Lowe's. We got some dead trees there. I'm going to remove those and get those taken care of this month as well. So, got the ditch sprayed. It's dead.
Good,
It's very dead.
very dead. I
Yeah,
like
it is very dead. And I sprayed around the other trees, like around the ball fields, encouraging them, letting them know they don't have to get so close.
Very good.
Okay. Probably forgetting something. I had a meeting before I came here. At the fire department, we're planning on doing the burn of the wildflowers at West Foundation on
October 16th.
17th.
Oh, Mike Miller gave me the wrong date.
Did he? Yeah. The 17th is the preliminary date and 21st is the backup date. Mark must have given him Mike couldn't make it, so Mark maybe gave him the wrong date.
How'd you do on the autumn olive in there?
Good. I would say 80% of it's dead. Another 5%'s in the process. So it's coming. It's coming along. And I have a little bit of chemical left. I'm going to go ahead and just hit it while I'm out doing stuff. So when I have the trailer out.
Then in the area that we cleared out last year, you been in there?
I talked to Mark today. He's going to check on getting a brush hog from the Parks Department, and then I will volunteer for the board, and I'm going to brush hog that.
Okay, before you do that, let's pull the pods off the milkweeds.
Okay.
Let's get all those pods so we can.
You know,
use
and the
those
Cub
seeds.
Scouts need a badge.
We need them for further west in that area. I'd like to scare it and just kind of where we can.
Yeah,
We're gonna be
that's
working in
fine.
the ditch there.
But yeah, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
So
I know, it's a really good crop. I was pleased.
yeah.
Is
I was
this
real
where-
pleased.
Back behind the pavilions there?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna walk through it a little bit, but I stayed on the perimeter because there's a lot of poison ivy in there, and
There is, and that's why I want to go ahead and kind of get it mowed up a little bit, and hopefully ODOT don't say anything to us, which they shouldn't. If not, I'll have Mike talk to him.
You guys are gonna mow that now?
I was going to brush hog it here probably within the next 3 weeks.
Okay, cause Danny was gonna plant some more trees in there. and
Yeah.
He was talking about, I said, well, just bring the bush hog down and mow it, but if your guys are gonna mow it.
Oh, okay. Well, that
So-
it'll probably be, I would say, 3 weeks before we do. So if he wants to, knock it down, go ahead. If not, I'll mow around them and stuff. So
you can get around them without hurting them.
I'll try. If not, we'll figure something out.
I was wondering about you guys were planning to do
Danny's
with,
working on it now
okay,
again.
okay.
There's quite a few pods in there, but there's not great gobs of pods on the milkweed. I was just there between 2 and 3 o'clock today.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm just excited based on what we've gotten in the
And I
past.
think mowing off those milkweeds now, they're just gonna come back up in the spring.
Mhm.
thicker.
Yeah. I think what really helped that milkweed was clearing that out and knocking that down a little bit, because that really stimulated them. They took off nice this year.
I'd just like to get more of them up further on the west end of that.
It's interesting, the ones that's got the pods now, they've lost their leaves.
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
milkweed.
So you just
And
got
then the
pods
ones that-
sticking up
the
there.
ones that don't have pods on still have leaves. So
Yeah.
it's kinda
Yeah. I would imagine they're male, female plants. I would imagine maybe. I don't know.
When do you plan to plant in there?
Uh,
Next week?
He's planting there now.
Okay.
He moved some big walnuts into but they need to go dormant before we move them in, but the walnuts went dormant early, so.
Yeah, it's been a dry year. The river birch are starting to shed already too, so.
And just coming in today, sitting at the light at Chestnut and Sandusky, there on the right-hand side where the silver building used to be with,
Yes,
okay, there's a oak, there's a building, there's an oak, and there's some kind of crab or whatever. There's poison ivy growing up in that crab. It's turning
Is there?
orange.
okay.
So I thought if you're driving by, knock that out.
Yeah, I think I got 6 or 7 big bunches off of West High Street that
I just saw it and I thought, oh, I gotta remember to say that.
yes. And that's right there at where the old silver building
Yeah,
was.
I don't know
Okay.
what you call that building.
I always called it a big tuna can. I don't know.
It was not an attractive building, but it,
No.
okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks,
I
Scott.
appreciate what you're doing. Really appreciate it. So Quentin, we got the purchase order for the seeds for the ditch there on Hiawatha. Any news on what's going on with that? Have you gotten them?
So we haven't ordered the seeds yet. It's been cleared out and it's been sprayed. I was actually just there the other day, and it looks good for getting some seed in there. Jason from B City is going to reach out to the provider of the seeds to see if they can send us the mix separated, because in talking with some native landscape architects that he knows, he thinks that it would be much more appealing to have shorter forbs up on the top of the bank and then have the taller wildflowers in the bottom of the ditch so that it just doesn't look completely overgrown. So the mix does have none of the big blue stem grasses that you didn't like, but it does have some smaller grasses that would provide a transitionary area on the bank into the ditch. So he's working on that to see if we can get the seeds delivered that way, and then we'd plan on probably seeding that by hand come November or December, whenever it's
Now,
dried
it
out.
won't matter if Brian comes before or after with the trees. Do we need?
No, I don't think it's going to matter for our purposes. Our biggest concern is trying to figure out how we're going to keep the seed in without it washing out if we get a big rain, which is one of the reasons why we want to wait as long as we can, because we'd rather
Cold ground.
get it in there when it's cold so we don't have to worry so much about that. But then come March, we could get a big melt and some rain, and
The trees could help.
Yeah, no, they're gonna be
yeah.
balls.
So it's the ditch isn't really, we can't get a seed drill in there or anything.
I was
So-
gonna say, how you gonna,
We're just going to have to hand cast and
What about now, while it's dry?
Nobody's afraid of rain and wash them in.
Thursday grain those will be all at the bottom of that ditch. Those
Yeah.
seeds, if we do it now. That's my guess.
What's the germination time?
So they need to stratify over the winter, most of them. So they have to go through that cold cycle. They won't be, some of them might pop up next spring and some might not be
Is there
until a
any
year
way
later.
to anchor them in, like any soil? I mean,
One of the things that we could do is we can put filter sock at different spots along the ditch, and that would hopefully help catch any seed that washed out, and then it would just build up there. The other thing that we talked about was coming back in the spring with plugs. So if we could get plugs donated, or if we took some seed that we had and just started plugs over the winter, we could go back in the spring and supplement with that.
Okay, so if you want to start seed, and you'll collect it, because John Campbell does, they start seeds in the greenhouse for their spring sale at the school, but they would be willing to start some for us.
Okay. So yeah, if we provide the seed, they can
We
start them
provide
for
the
us.
seed, they'll help us with
That
that.
would be great.
So, you did that last year, remember the?
That's the horticultural
Yeah,
group.
well, it's landscape design, but
Landscape
yeah.
design.
I just have to talk with him about it if we want to do something like that. Because he started the milkweed for us the year before last. And it made him mad as heck that he couldn't grow weeds. He was just not happy about not being able to grow weeds. Milk seeds particularly. I got an email from Mel Severance about Kester Drive. Did you see that one? Have you seen it? Apparently there's a tree in front of the residence on 22 Kester Drive. I'll give you this.
Okay.
That they think needs to be removed. And I was gonna go out there, but I haven't made it yet. So if you'd maybe have Nick take a look at that and see if it's.
We'll have Zane take a look at it.
Zane,
Yep.
okay, Zane's doing that now. No, yeah, Nick's doing locations. You're doing that. Well,
Yeah, that's something that we've decided to pass off to Zane since he has a forestry background and feels a lot more comfortable identifying which trees could be removed than Nick does. Nick can do the easy ones, but then he'll get ones where he really doesn't know and he just,
Is there any updates on the trees that I've talked with you about on West Gambier and Hackberry and the willow on North Main?
If you want them to go, we can
Yeah,
take them.
I believe Brian moved forward with getting a PO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
those.
they were submitted for POs. So.
Okay, another clarification I have, on Martinsburg Road, we have a lot of rental properties. We also apparently have a lot of easements. So there is somebody who has a rental property who requested trees. He's the property owner. We put trees down, but the neighbor next. Flags down. And the neighbor next to him is saying that it's a shared use driveway and she doesn't want the trees. Is there any way to decide whose property is on either side of this driveway? We're having
We may
property
have those
disputes.
easements on record, but they would have to pull up their deeds and do a title search for both of their houses to show where the easements are, if there are any.
And,
We may have those records, but it's not guaranteed.
okay, and who's we? We have the
The
records.
engineering department.
Okay.
We have some easement records, but not all of
Okay.
them.
Because
Especially if it's
I'm-
between two private.
That's a street south of town where lots of things have kind of gone unnoticed and under kind of discussed. Things like, we've talked about septic systems, wells, and now trying to plant or putting flags down, people are complaining that they own, there's literal like corners, and it's like
And this is
how-
outside of the tree lawn?
And the tree lawn is kind of, is not, that's where a lot of people park on Martinsburg Road, so it's not
Okay.
really a viable tree lawn. It's not allowed to be a viable tree lawn because there's no curbs and there's no other street parking. So to plant at all, it's on the other side of the sidewalk, which is where a lot of municipalities do plant. So I'm coming up against trees that are on both pieces of property, like to be removed. One says yes, one says no, even though it's kind of a tree that doesn't even have any branches, it's just a trunk.
Yeah, so I can look, if you give me the address, I can look to see if we have anything on file, but ultimately the homeowner should pull up their deeds from when they bought the house. There was a title search done when they bought the house, and all that paperwork should show any easements that are on their property, so. If they can't come to an agreement, then we should probably just not walk away from it, because that's really between the two homeowners.
Yeah. All right, any other question about any of that before you go? I have something, if everybody, all good. We had talked about this, a while back. This Joshua Williams wants to develop that piece of property up behind the, nursing home,
Hmm.
Country Court, is that Country Court Nursing Home?
Yes.
Yes. He contacted me and wanted a list of, or he wanted to meet, and I sent him an email saying, once they submit their plan, we review it, then we go from there. So then he asked for a list of desirable trees, and you provided that for him?
Yes.
Yes. Now he says that, that they want to have an informal meeting with the Shade Tree Commission. So, and Brian said, when I talked with Brian, he said, no, we don't do anything until they submit their plan.
If they have a plan to submit, the way that I believe the ordinance was written is that they would submit a plan, or they would bring a plan to us to review informally before it was submitted to the Municipal Planning Commission. But we still need a plan to look at. Yeah.
So I think that's what they want to do. They want to do their informal meeting with the Shade Tree Commission, given it's a heavily wooded site, and want to be able to preserve its natural vegetation. So that's something we should do here, or is that something we should do with the engineering department and the conference room?
Probably the conference room.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I do have as well. Since that came up, I don't know that. So we had that desirable tree list, but I don't know that there was anything ever officially voted on, passed by Shade Tree Commission.
Was that from 2022?
This is,
It was an email that I had sent him.
yeah, and we had an undesirable tree list as well, which is the email you had sent me. So all I did is I just typed those up for you guys to review, to look at, and then if you have any comments or you don't like them at all, we can completely revise them. But I think it would be good to have Shade Tree kind of officially adopt a desirable and undesirable tree list. That way it's really easy for us when we get those just to pass those on to developers, and they don't have to bother you guys, and we can just give them a really good ground to stand on. So I'll share these with everybody here.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking time to do that.
Yeah. Now,
So I'll make sure, I'll send an email too for Dwayne to get a copy of this as well.
this doesn't, so the undesirable tree list is, it's really only applying to tree lawns?
So I
Correct.
kind of broke it down. I put a column for tree lawns, and then I put one for all areas. And the all area ones are trees that have been identified in peer-reviewed research as being invasive in Ohio, but have not been adopted as invasives per Ohio Administrative Code. So you'll see some on here. The first one is the Amur maple, and this is all disputable. If you guys want to do some research and add or remove items from this list, is one that has been identified as invasive in research, but it's not spelled out in the OAC.
Yeah, and I just sent you that article.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking at the Coosa dogwood now, is because of the climate change. Our environment's changing enough, they're seeing the Coosa as being an invasive now.
Brian and I were discussing that. You want to say anything?
I haven't seen it
Okay.
in our area. I think
Yeah, or you haven't seen them cross over or go out into the wild yet? Well, it was just something that I found that I passed out.
And I think that was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was me, yeah, but usually it works, works its way there. It's like the spotted lanternfly,
Yeah.
All right.
I guess one other thing while I'm still up here, if you don't mind, the Harcourt Road area that was cleared out, B-City has been working actively to secure some trees donated and other forbs and seeds to kind of reestablish that area to keep the honeysuckle from coming back. Every time we visited it, it looks like the honeysuckle is staying away. Currently, there's only a few that are trying to come back, but they did a really good job treating all of that. And so what our goal is to get some native trees, shrubs, and wildflowers, some grasses maybe in there, just to keep it from coming back to the way it was. I don't know if you guys want to see that list before we go in there and do anything. We've got permission from ODOT to do it. It's technically not in city limits yet, but it will be annexed in hopefully this or next year. So.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
So who's paying for that?
It's
all done.
all privately donated currently, yeah. Yep. So these are trees donated by Leaves for Wildlife, I believe, is the nursery, and they have some trees that didn't sell, aren't doing good, maybe, and they're just free trees that we can have to plant.
Who's gonna plant them?
It would be B-City volunteers.
City volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be better than it was,
Yeah.
without a doubt. It will be better than it was.
Yeah.
And when you look at that spot being down over the guardrail down in the thing, it's not anything that can be used for anything else.
There's not much potential for recreation there. There is access under one of the bridges because there's actually two bridges there. And if you park over by the park and ride area where the soccer fields were, there is access to it, but it's just not. It's really just riverbank area. And if something isn't planted there, the honeysuckle is going to make its way back in inevitably.
I did notice it's starting to, I could see some of
Yeah.
it. I was gonna ask, that was one thing I forgot.
Most of it's at bay, but there is some that's starting to come back. Yeah.
If you wanted me to-
Yep.
Does Shade Tree need to provide any help for that?
As far as I know, we don't need any resources. The only thing that was discussed is maybe purchasing some fencing to put around the trees that we put in.
Like the tree guards that we put in, the plastic
Um,
ones?
Anything, I don't know, whatever you guys would recommend.
Is this for deer? Or?
Yeah, for deer.
Okay.
We should have some of those down in the Parks Department, didn't we?
I
Scott?
think John said he still had those down there.
So talk to John and get them from him.
Awesome.
He should have some 3 and 4 footers down there.
What did you call them?
Oh, they're
Tree
Tree
guards.
guards through the open.
Tree guards?
Through the, like the
They're like-
poly woven, so the
like a
air gets around.
4-inch
the car.
square plastic, and you wrap it around wire tight together. We
Okay.
used them out in Arboretum for a while.
And I'd like to actually use some tree guards in some TCP locations, just because of loss of trees.
Okay. Yeah, if you can tell me how many you need, that way I know not to use all
We'll
of
leave
them.
some.
Yeah.
Just leave
Oh,
some.
but we can get more.
Yeah, we can
They're
get more.
available. Use what, if he's got some and you need them, use them. We're gonna take the time and put trees in there. Let's make sure they're protected and they have a chance.
Okay. That's all I have.
And if John has more, use them. If not, we can get them.
They can have 40 to 50 that I dropped off down there anyways. It was quite the.
We had
it
a
was
lot
all-
of them.
It was mainly all the ones out of the 50 natives because I put the woven wire fence around the trees out there.
Yeah, you put a bigger perimeter, because they're getting bigger and needed more.
Yeah, they was eating those persimmon trees like they was licorice, so we moved them out a little bit. But they were- yeah,
Well, thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Before I move on to anything new, anything we didn't talk about, anybody got any questions about?
Yeah.
Go for it.
On the north side of town is our one church. Working with Dwayne.
I forgot to add that.
We had, we'd like to put behind the church, there's a big steel wire fence, and then behind that is a wooden fence. And we'd like to try to block that off if we could with some arborvitae.
Which church is
So it's
this?
a little white church out on the north end on Old Mansfield Road. We put in swamp oaks last year and 2 red buds up front, a white oak up front. It's a little white church past Faith Lutheran on the same side of the street.
Was that, did it used to be a Grange years ago?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
I think it sounds like a great idea. Brian showed the area to me. I did talk to Dwayne about it. Because of the nature of the area and the private property and then the church, I say it's appropriate to add some screening.
Okay.
And I forgot to add that in. Did we say 15?
12.
12?
Between 10 and 12. But the private property owner is the one that the other people on Longitude, they're all blocking off because they have trouble.
Because of the way he's clear cut, it just kind of,
I mean, I don't know what the
Yeah.
problem is there, but.
yeah.
Yeah, I know they got all worked up about it, but
Yeah, but it's the same property owner and it just looks.
It doesn't, yeah, it's
it's
not
a very
appropriate for,
unsightly Fence.
okay.
and they've been really good stewards of their trees, and they're good at maintaining them and conscientiously watering them. And so it would be a grant, but yet they would TCP
They would want it.
water.
Okay.
So that brings my numbers up to 238.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so on the new business thing, I have a tree removal protocol. And this is something that we will work together as a commission. When we did our initial inventory of the community, we found the city had 16,000 trees and 5,000 of them were not in good shape. So the Arrow Foundation helped us out with the tree removal grant, and we've gone through and cleaned up the trees. And now we have storms and our roads don't get blocked, and we don't have fallen trees in the streets, and it's been a very, very, very good program. And we're coming to the point where we've got things under control well enough now, and we've talked about moving into removing trees from private property as part of our urban forest
Management.
management. Yeah, good. Couldn't get that word out of my head. It was there, just couldn't get it out. But to just further manage our urban forest, because when you look at the city, probably 7/10 of the trees are on private property. So we've done a good job of managing what we have on the city land. Now we want to try and work into the private property. So we as a commission are going to sit down and talk about it and come up with a protocol for how we can help the community more using these grant dollars. Looks like it'll probably be on a cost share basis. We'll split cost or share the cost, but we don't have it all worked out. So I had it on here as new business because I wanted to bring it up. So sometime, excuse me, this time of year we're really busy getting trees in the ground and managing all that. And we don't meet in December. So usually January, February, it's kind of just where are we and what are we doing? I thought that would be a good time to set some time aside and have us to get together as a commission and go through with the engineering department and figure out how we can get this set up and then let legal look at it and make sure everything's good there and then go from there. Oops, sorry. So that's why that's on there.
So a couple of things that we would be, couple of points, like one, is this an invasive tree? Is it near a road?
Hazardous.
Is it hazardous? And so if you can think of, and I'm going to put this out to Quentin and Zane, and Brian
Scott and
and
Ryan.
Scott, when we're considering trees on private property, if it's out in the middle of a field and it's not going to harm anyone, it's not something I'm going to take down. But there are some bears of trees that are out there that I don't think some property owners would ever be able to manage to remove on their own. So what are some, I guess what I'm asking for is what qualities, what points can we add to this list to help develop this cost share removal program? And the obvious is a tree lawn that, or a tree that's maybe invasive or destructive or hazardous near the road, that sort of thing. So those are some of the obvious ones. But if there's others that could fall under that umbrella,
Yeah, we don't know. We're working out kind of working out a protocol.
I guess the first thing is the overall health of the tree. You know, I mean, is it healthy? Is it got disease? You know, I mean, if it's susceptible and you know you get a windstorm or something, then you're going to have issues there.
And that's the last storm we had. The trees that did come down in the streets were from private property. They were not city trees.
Yeah.
We didn't have many, but we did have a couple. We did have a few.
Would it make sense to do a proximity to utility? So that would allow us to automatically say no, if that tree out in the middle of the field, that's an automatic no, even if it's invasive, but if it's close within X given distance to any utility, public utility.
I like the utility thing because then that keeps Esplinda from hacking up our trees.
Yeah, they're over in East End right now.
Yeah, I know. They're doing their job. It's never
it's just-
beautiful, but they're
it's
doing what they need to do.
heartbreaking.
Never
But we take electricity for granted until we don't have it. And they're doing a thing that they're doing a service that keeps it functioning. So
And also this is, sometimes they're just eyesores.
when they get done with them, yes.
Or the trees in general. When they get done with them, or some trees that have just kind of rotted off, but it's
There's
a way
two
to
on
clean up.
Martinsburg Road.
Oh,
Those silver
there's-
maples on Martinsburg Road are that way. They're half gone. And so
So if you can think of reasons
just anything you can think
So you
of.
want reasons why
to justify the sharing the cost of removal.
Just if you think of
There's-
it, just make a little note and when we get
We-
together first.
We
thing,
were
we'll
on
talk.
Martinsburg Road and there was a nuisance tree on the wrong side of the sidewalk that will split and fall and be on the road.
probably one of those big old maples down that, is it towards out of town or?
It's not, it wasn't a maple, but there's plenty of those too.
Yeah,
It was
there's-
a pine tree.
oh,
There's, if you go down that road, and I was there today, there's just maples that people would not be able to take down in their front yard that are barely there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just keep in mind, maybe we'll get together and have a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah, we'll sit down one day and we'll get together and we'll kick it around, we'll come up with a plan.
And we're thinking December.
December.
January, February.
January, February,
Okay,
after the first of the year.
okay.
I forgot one thing.
When we're
Can I
quieter.
interject something?
Oh, geez.
One thing.
What do you got?
I've been, for the last couple of years, taking care of Japanese knotweed and Brian Ball called me and stuff. And I took care of some at the bridge on 586. You reminded me on Martinsburg Road. And then down at Dyke Road, I took care of a big patch there. If you see it right now, it is drinking stuff. I mean, it's trying to store up for the winter. This is the perfect time of the year to get it sprayed and get it taken care of, and it's very invasive. So if you see it, just let me know.
I have no idea what it looks like.
Well, you remember that big sheet I gave you, that big fold-out sheet of knot?
Yeah, it's in my car.
Okay, it's on there.
I'll look at it.
Stands pretty big leaves.
Yeah, great big, like, spade-shaped leaves on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it fruits, flowers, it's weird.
Yeah, it's got like an antenna almost
Yeah.
with little white blossoms on it.
Yep.
But right now,
Goes in big thick patches.
yeah, it's same stuff I killed up by the VFW and along the river and stuff. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to, because more eyes we have out there, it makes it easier for me to find it, and I can hit it and do a strafing run and get out
Yeah.
there.
Well, when I'm around in the day and there's daylight, I'll look. Unfortunately, I'm not around in daylight often.
So you're like a mushroom there.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yeah.
We won't go there.
All right, well, you know, we talked about things we had on the list. We added a few things we didn't. Sounds like we've got a good plan for the fall. Just a matter of getting it all organized, and then the fun comes, getting the flags in, getting things marked. That won't be that bad. I say that. It's easy for me, right? Okay. Well,
That's it.
I think that's
And
it. I
make a
think we
motion
did.
that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Second.
You second. All right, we're in favor. Okay, let us know when you got it turned off there, Judy.
Oh,
Is this
That'd
lady
be
back here
Maureen.
need something, or?
Oh, I know, we just completely ignored you. You're just here.
This is
The
Oh.
guest.
this is Laura. I invited her to the meeting.
Oh,
today.
I saw that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little bit. I know you have to leave here to.
I do have to leave shortly. I moved here a year ago May, and I love Mount Vernon, and I love everything that's happening with the Shade Tree Commission, and happy to be a part of a new town.
Yeah, we kind of just jump all over, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're here for the fun of it, you know?
Happy. Enjoy what you do.
So Laura, where are you from?
I'm from Columbus.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is way better than Canada.
They have a really nice urban forestry master plan, though. I will say.
They do.
Yes,
Yeah,
do.
they do. And they also don't let people just take their own trees out of the lawn.
Well, that happened in Clintonville with that
Yes,
Dunkin'
it did.
Donuts.
Yes.
That's caused a big uproar, so.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the advantage of having a bigger budget and horticulturists on